Hey everyone, thanks for clicking on me. Today I'm going to show you how I took my mom's handwritten manila recipe and turned it into a thoughtful gift that I gave to my brothers and sisters. I'm going to show you how to pull the text off of any handwritten recipe and turn it into a digital file that you can load up into your Glowforge and engrave. I ended up engraving on Baltic birch to make this thoughtful gift. So with that said, Lucy and I are going to show you 4 easy steps that it's going to take you to get from this envelope to this engraving on a piece of wood. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. It's a real easy project, and if I can do it, I know for a fact you can do it too, because it's that easy. So let's get started. The first thing I like to do is tape a white piece of printer paper onto a wall in a well-lit room. I then tape the recipe onto the white piece of paper, making sure it is as flat as possible. I then mount my iPhone onto a tripod and adjust the height to where the iPhone is at the same level of the recipe, and I zoom in on the recipe. I then add an external light source onto the recipe as to eliminate as many shadows as possible. The cleaner your picture is, the easier it will be to edit. I also use a Bluetooth shutter to take the picture to eliminate any possible movement of the camera and having a fuzzy picture. Here is a picture without the light, and here's a picture with the light. Big difference. Let's go ahead and open up Adobe Capture. Once Adobe Capture is open, click on the plus sign, click on Import Images, and select Camera Roll. Once it's open, find your recipe, click on it, and this will load it up into Adobe Capture. You're going to see about 5 tools on the right side that you can use. You're only going to need to use the Shapes tool. What this does, this will add and remove detail from your recipe by using this slider that you can slide up and down. What you want to do is you want to find the middle ground to where your text is dark, but yet you're not dragging in other unwanted details. So once you're happy, click the check mark and let's go ahead and save this recipe. Now I'm going to name the recipe. I'm going to change the name from Shapes 3 to Recipe 1. You can rename yours to whatever you want it to be. Now what this is going to do, it's going to save it to the internal library of the app. But you're going to want to save it to the camera roll. So let's go ahead and click on the 3 dots on the bottom right corner and click on Save to Camera Roll. This way it'll be there. When you're ready to open up your next app, you can go to the camera roll and grab it from there. Okay, let's go ahead and open up Magic Eraser. Once Magic Eraser is open, go ahead and click on Photos, and let's find that recipe and load it into the program. Now that we have the recipe here, we can crop it. Let's go ahead and crop out any unwanted and unneeded areas. This will make it easier to work on. We have our custom icon illuminated, that's okay, so let's click Done. Now the recipe is ready to be edited. But before we do any editing, let me show you the tools that you're going to have to do the editing. You have a few on the bottom and a few on the top. Now on the bottom left, you have something that is called the magic wand. Next to that, you have the erase tool, the restore tool, the invert mask, and this next one is important. It's called the red mask on and off. You'll use this a few times. Now this tool here is your undo tool. You'll use that one a lot too. I'll explain later. Now let's select the magic wand, zoom into the recipe, and let's go to a large area of white. Now what you simply do is click on the white area, and this will erase all the white that is not surrounded by black. In this example here, you have an area of white surrounded by black, and when you click on it, the white gets erased. Now let's zoom out a bit. And when you zoom out, you can tell that the transparent background indicated by the checkerboard is going to make editing difficult because you can't see the white areas. So let's go to the bottom right corner and let's click the red mask on tool. This changes the checkerboard background to a reddish pink background, and this will make editing a lot easier. With the magic wand tool still selected, let's click on any white area that is surrounded by black and click on it. And when you click on these areas, it will erase the white from those areas. Now in this area here, you have a line that you're not going to want. So let's go ahead and click the erase tool and let's erase it. Now let's change our cursor size to a little bit larger and let's start to erase this line. As you can tell, it changes the line from black to red. Whenever you see red, that will be erased from the transparent background. As you can tell, it went away. It's been erased. That's a good thing. So let's continue on and let's click the red mask back on and let's erase a little bit more of the line. As I erase, it changes the black line to red, which is good, which means it has erased the line. So let's go back to the recipe and let's continue to use the magic wand tool and let's erase all the areas of white that are surrounded by black. Just click on those white areas and the white will be erased from those areas. Now this is going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of patience to go from word to word, area to area, clicking on all these white areas as to erase them from the recipe. Now in this area here, I'm going to have to zoom in really big to get to some of the smaller white areas. Now in this area, I accidentally clicked on the black and it erased the black. I don't want that, so I hit the undo tool and it undid my last step. The undo tool is a very friendly tool, and I think you're going to use the undo tool quite a bit. Now with the magic wand selected, let's go ahead and continue and let's get all these white areas out, because if you take a little bit of time, the more time you put into editing your recipe, the better results you're going to get with your engraving. Now in this area, I don't know if I like this line, so I'm going to use another tool and I'm going to erase this line. So first of all, hit the eraser tool and I'm going to change the cursor size to about the size of the line, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to erase that line, and you can tell it's being erased because it's changing it to red. But as you can tell, I accidentally erased some of the letter. So let's go to the restore tool and let's change the cursor to about the size of the line, and let's go in there and carefully go in there and restore the area of black that I erased. So that's your restore tool, and also you'll use that quite a bit throughout the recipe. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into fast forward and I'm going to continue to edit the rest of this recipe. So I'll see you at the end and I'll show you a couple of other editing tips that might make your recipe a little bit more appealing to the eye. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm back. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the recipe and make sure that all the white areas are removed. Once I'm sure they're removed, there's a couple of spots on this recipe that I think need a little attention. Now here I think Mama must have had a little bit too much of the special sauce, and I think she overwrote herself, and in this area here it looks a little messy, so I'm going to clean it up. In the next example, the word hominy was misspelled, and I think she realized it was misspelled and she tried to correct it, and it made her handwriting look a little bit messy. So I'm going to go in there and clean up the messiness. And after removing all the mistakes, I think the word hominy now looks a little bit better. Just remember, when editing their handwriting, to not remove too much, because you want to keep the handwriting authentic to who they were. Lastly, I'm going to turn off the red mask and I'm going to go through the recipe and make sure that I don't see any marks or lines that I don't want engraved, because what you see here is what you're going to get engraved. So now I turn the red mask back on, I hit the save button, and now I can save it as a PNG file. PNG files can easily be loaded into the Glowforge to engrave. So now let's go ahead and hit the save button, hit high resolution, and let's go ahead and turn on our Glowforge, and let's load this PNG file into the Glowforge. So next I loaded my recipe PNG file into the Glowforge, as well as two other pictures that are PNG files that I want also to be engraved on my design. I also had a couple of SVG files for my cutouts. I hit the print button, came out to about 41 minutes for this job to complete. So let's go ahead and hit the start button and let's let this job run. Okay guys, this pretty much wraps up this project. So if you learned anything or liked this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and like my video and also subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And while you're at it, go ahead and share it with your friends. So with that said, until I do my next project, whenever that is, I'll talk to you later, okay? Have a good day.